Hello everyone, this is Joseph from English with Joseph. Now today we are going to talk about something a little bit different. We're going to talk about a method of learning English. The idea of learning English is so that you can have a conversation in a different language, It's not so that you can memorize every verb, every grammar table there is. It's so that you can happily speak in the language of your choice. And in this case, it's English. Now, I'm a great believer in the way of learning, which is immersion. You just jump with both feet right into the language. Every moment of your time, have English radio, have English TV, have everything English. Painful, isn't it? Especially when you start to think in English. But one of the harder things is trying to speak, especially when you have no one to practice with. It could be you're learning English alone. It could be you're learning English for a purpose. Whatever it is, it's difficult if you don't have a regular person to speak with. Yes, you can hear, maybe you can understand most, but to speak, you won't have the confidence. There is a method of learning English which is called shadowing. Now, you may be familiar with the word shadow. You know, a shadow is something which it's almost like a reflection. It's the black silhouette of you, which usually is behind you, And as you walk, you can see it in the dark night. That's what a shadow is. But many people don't realize that a shadow can also be used as a verb, to shadow. Okay, so a shadow as a noun is something which is a reflection of the light behind you, a black silhouette. But to shadow something means to repeat what someone is doing very closely. So to walk in their shadow, so to speak. You're so close to them, everything they do, you do also. It's very common if you go to a new job for your employer to say, okay, well, you can shadow this person. In other words, watch and do exactly what they do, and you do it also. And that's the method of learning English we're going to speak about today. It is actually very useful and it does work, but it takes a bit of getting used to. What it is, and this is a method, by the way, which was invented by a guy called Mr. I think his name is Arguelles. Arguelles. I don't know much about him. I don't know where he was from. If you put it into Google, language learning, shadowing, you'll get all the information you need. This is a method. Mr. Arguelles has many books and tapes and a YouTube channel, all these things about this particular method of learning. And basically, all you have to do is listen to someone speaking English and speak out loud what they're saying. So as you hear them speak, you say it. Now that sounds, first of all, it sounds a bit easy, and you think, well, I'm just repeating what someone's saying, even if I don't understand it, how hard can it be? But it does actually help a great deal with your English. When I started to do it in learning a different language, actually when I was learning Dutch, I didn't realize that I wasn't concentrating when I was listening. I was understanding a little bit here, a little bit there, but I wasn't understanding the whole conversation. But when I started repeating what they were saying, what I was hearing, suddenly I realized that I needed a lot more conversation, and very quickly my Dutch improved. So this is what I want you to try in English. Next time you see someone on TV who's speaking English, copy him. just be a few words behind him and say everything that he's saying. Now, the first couple of times you try that, it's going to be very, very hard. Okay? Don't get uncomfortable with it. Just keep at it until it becomes more of a habit, because unconsciously you're learning more words as you do this. Okay? So, you could even do it now. Whatever you're hearing coming from my mouth, speak it. I'm not speaking fast, so it's quite easy. But when you hear someone on the radio speaking, it sounds like... You're like, oh, what's it? But after a bit of practice over a few days, it becomes very easy to do. So that's what I would like you to do. And you might think to yourself, well, you know what, that's good, but why would I want to do that when I'm lying in bed listening? Well, that's the other thing Mr. Aguelas teaches us. His method, which apparently is very successful, he says that you should shadow someone, and while you're shadowing the person that is speaking immediately after them, what they've just said, you should be walking very fast and very brisk in an upright position with your posture correct. Now, that's okay, but people might think you're a bit nuts. Okay? So what I do when I'm doing this is I get my hands free and I listen via a radio app, which is TuneIn actually, on my mobile. Okay? So you can put TuneIn on in your mobile, listen to the BBC, Radio 4, whatever, even music, and just repeat what you hear. Okay, now the chances are where you are, there aren't going to be so many English speakers, or even if there are, they're not really going to be very interested in your conversation. So as you walk, repeat what you're hearing, okay? And it looks to everyone like you are making a mobile phone call. That's what it looks like, okay? What you're actually doing is you're repeating, shadowing the presenter, whoever's presenting the radio show, okay? So just to go for that one more time, the idea is you should be walking, you should have a good stiff back. Check out Mr. Arguel's site for more information on that. It seems a bit strange. Sounds like he should be in the army, doesn't it? And when you hear someone speak on your headphones, whatever they say, shadow them. Speak immediately after them. Okay? And try and repeat every single word. It will be hard. It will be very difficult. If you're very organized, you can even keep a note of the words that you don't know, and you can add them to a flashcard maybe. Personally, I found it very hard because I couldn't even hear where the words ended and where they began. But with practice, that gets much easier, and it's a wonderful way to learn. So don't worry about understanding, just repeat with the accent exactly what you hear. Try and copy the man exactly, or the woman, whatever. And that's shadowing. Okay, well I hope that's been helpful. And why not leave me a comment, let me know how you get on. You're just copying someone else, you're walking at the same time. It looks like you're making a phone call, so it helps. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.